Let's talk about your article first. Surprising things the Browns could do in 2024 draft. Number one, you have the Browns make 5 or fewer draft picks.
You know, Andrew Berry loves draft picks. I mean, I can't imagine he's sitting there with his 5 picks and thinking that that's nearly enough for him. You know, obviously we know he loves to trade down, and I've said before, this is the kind of year to trade down, especially with just 2 picks in the top 150. I said before that that's not enough. They need to get another, and if possibly, if they can, get 2 more out of that situation. So I feel like unless there's a true guy with a true first-round grade sitting there at 54, I would be ready to just back out of that pick, you know, try and drop down 10 to 12 spots, you know, maybe with a team like the Cardinals or the Commanders who have multiple third-round picks, and see if you can try to get 2 of them to slide back.
The second thing you have is the Browns trade Greg Newsome.
Well, this goes back to a mock I had recently where I had the Browns trading Newsome to the Arizona Cardinals. That was basically a hypothetical exercise. And, you know, Mary Kay Cabot wrote about a week ago in the Browns Insider talking, you know, about what Andrew Berry said at the NFL league meeting, saying they value Greg Newsome and essentially dismissed the rumors that, you know, he could go. I know there's, you know, you would have to give him a 5th-year option, and that's a pretty good chunk of cap you had to pay to a third corner, especially if, you know, Martin Emerson seems like he's the number 2 guy. But, you know, there's a lot of reason. There's a pretty good reason why you would keep Greg Newsome there, because you have this trio of corners that have proven to be successful over the past couple seasons. Why not keep them together another year and keep that pass defense, you know, as one of the best in football?
And 3, the Browns pass on a receiver.
I swear I did not mean for that last one to be a pun there. But I look at this draft, I said before, this is a borderline generational receiver draft at the top and in terms of depth. You know, there's so many guys that could be first-round picks. I've said potentially any of 9 different guys had the potential to go in the first round. I'm not saying, you know, the Browns should definitely stay at 54 and draft a receiver, but I feel like if they don't take one with one of their first 2 picks in this draft, or just not even take one entirely, that feels like a mistake to me. I like I've said before, I still believe in Cedric Tillman. I think he's going to have a much better year 2 now that he's kind of continued to acclimate to the pro game and understanding what he has to do as far as nuance goes to have success there. And especially, again, the number of reps he did, you know, late in his rookie season had to help him tremendously just to understand all those sorts of things. But, you know, we talk about in the NFL, you can't have enough receivers. And like I said, you know, going up against teams like the Chiefs and the Bengals, you're not going to be able to stop them. You have to outscore them, and that means continuing to load up a receiver. I know Andrew Berry's taken one each of the last 4 drafts, so wouldn't be surprised if he does one this time. He hasn't found a long-term answer, but you got to keep swinging until you have that guy. You don't just stop swinging the bat if you don't hit the pitch. You got to keep just being aggressive, try and find a guy, and, you know, eventually, numbers say you will find a guy that sticks and becomes, you know, a contributor, you know, maybe a high-level starter, maybe even a Pro Bowler. I mean, we've seen Andrew Berry be able to find some high-level players, you know, in the middle rounds of the last 2 drafts with Martin Emerson and DeJuan Jones.
Yeah, earlier in the show, we kind of showed the tweet that the Browns have spent 26th, so one of the fewest in the league. 26 out of 32 is how much draft capital they've expended at wide receiver the last 5 years.